And she's changed. She's not the daughter I knew. My daughter was a much more giving, loving person than she is now.
You know what? Meghan's dad just dropped some tea so hot, it could power the entire British Empire for a year. And let me tell you, when your own father starts spilling secrets about you, that's not just family drama, that's a full-blown Netflix documentary waiting to happen. But here's the kicker. What he revealed makes her acting career look like amateur hour compared to the performance she's been putting on in real life. So buckle up, because we're about to dive into a story that's got more plot twists than a soap opera written by someone who clearly failed creative writing class. Thomas Markle, bless his heart, decided to go on record and basically said, "Hold up, let me tell you what really happened." And honestly, after hearing what he had to say, I'm starting to think Meghan's entire life has been more scripted than her 7 minutes of screen time on Suits. Wait, did I say 7 minutes? My bad. It was actually 138 minutes across 108 episodes. That's like 2.5 hours of screen time spread over 7 seasons. I've seen people get more camera time at Walmart security footage. But here's where it gets really interesting, folks. According to dear old dad, Meghan had her eggs frozen years ago. Now, before you start thinking, "Oh, that's normal, lots of women do that," hold your horses because there's more. Her brother apparently said she had a hysterectomy after that. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. A hysterectomy. You know, that procedure that makes having biological children about as possible as me winning a Grammy for this roast session. And here's the plot twist that would make Night Shyamalan jealous. This supposedly all happened while she was still married to Trevor Engelson, way before Prince Harry was even a blip on her royal radar. So we're talking about a timeline that's more confusing than trying to understand the Marvel multiverse after they introduced time travel. But wait, there's more. Because apparently, keeping those frozen eggs preserve costs between $8,000 to $9,000 a month. Let me put that in perspective for you. That's more than most people's rent. And we're talking about someone who was making $7,000 per episode on a show where she had less screen time than a background extra in a crowd scene. Now, I know what you're thinking. Surely she could afford that, right? She was on TV. Well, here's where the math gets as messy as Harry's relationship with his family. Across those 108 episodes, with her whopping 138 minutes of total screen time, our girl Meghan was basically the human equivalent of a cameo appearance. I've seen TikTok videos with more sustained screen presence. And if she was only making $7,000 per episode and only showing up occasionally, because apparently showing up to work was optional, then honey, those egg storage bills were probably eating up her budget faster than I eat my mom's cooking when I visit home. So picture this scenario. You can't afford to keep your eggs frozen, you've had a hysterectomy, and then BM. Years later you show up with not one, but 2 children that are supposedly yours biologically. Now, I'm no detective, but even Scooby-Doo would be scratching his head at this mystery. And speaking of mysteries, have you noticed how every time these kids appear in public, they look about as comfortable as I do at a family reunion where everyone's asking when I'm getting married? There's something so staged about these appearances, it's like watching a school play where nobody remembered their lines. But let's talk about that Disneyland situation for a hot minute. People are saying the little girl they saw one day wasn't the same one they saw the next day. Now, I've heard of outfit changes, but kid changes? That's next level. It's like they're running some kind of royal child rental service. Need a cute kid for a photo op? We've got you covered. Same-day delivery available. I mean, what's next? Are they going to start offering a frequent customer punch card? Collect 10 public appearances. Get your 11th staged family moment free. And don't even get me started on that moon bump situation. Y'all, there's footage of Meghan walking around with what looks like a pregnancy belly that has more bounce than a basketball during the Olympics. During the pandemic, no less. When hospital rules were tighter than my jeans after Thanksgiving dinner. You couldn't bring a sandwich into a hospital back then, let alone a camera crew for your maternity shoot. But somehow, Meghan managed to waltz in there like she owned the place, probably with a director yelling action from behind a surgical mask. Now, here's what really gets me. In every interview, every public appearance, whenever those kids are mentioned, Meghan's reaction is flatter than a pancake that's been run over by a steamroller. There's no maternal warmth, no genuine emotion. It's like she's reading lines from a teleprompter that says, act like you care about these children. I've seen more convincing performances from people pretending to enjoy airplane food. And the kids, bless their hearts, they always look like they're being managed by some invisible stage director. There's always a handler nearby, always that feeling of, okay, everyone smile for the camera and scene. But here's where it gets really wild. Her own father is the one dropping these bombs. This isn't some random person on Twitter with a conspiracy theory and too much time on their hands. This is the man who raised her, saying, yeah, she had her eggs frozen and then had a hysterectomy. That's not casual dinner conversation, folks. That's a certified receipt. And then her brother backed it up like he was co-signing a loan. When your own family is out here providing documentation for your alleged deception, that's not a family feud anymore. That's a full-blown expose. You know what kills me? The mainstream media is treating this like it's nothing. They're glossing over it faster than I skip leg day at the gym. It's like they've all collectively decided, nope, we're not touching this with a 10-foot pole covered in royal immunity. But the questions are sitting right there, begging to be asked. If Meghan really couldn't have kids, then where did Archie and Lilibet come from? Are we supposed to believe in some kind of royal stork delivery service? Did they order these children from Amazon Prime with same-day delivery? And let's talk about the transparency, or should I say, the complete lack thereof. For a couple that claims they want privacy, they sure do love those carefully curated photo ops. But notice how there are never any raw, candid moments. No messy hair, no spit up on the clothes, no real birth photos, just these perfectly polished images that look like they came straight from a stock photo website. Royalty playing happy family, high resolution, watermark removed. I've seen more authentic family photos on people's dating profiles. Here's another thing that's bugging me. Where are the hospital confirmations? Where are the medical professionals? For someone who is supposedly pregnant in the public eye, there's a suspicious lack of actual medical documentation. It's like she managed to have a pregnancy that was completely off the medical grid. Even my cousin's dog has more veterinary records than Meghan has pregnancy documentation. And for a couple that's constantly in the spotlight, having zero candid paparazzi shots of an actual pregnancy, that's not privacy, that's straight up magic. But let's dive deeper into this moon bump conspiracy because, honey, the footage is something else. There are videos where her belly literally shifts and folds like it's made of memory foam. I've seen pregnancy bellies do a lot of things, but origami isn't usually one of them. People have analyzed this footage frame by frame like they're investigating the Kennedy assassination. And what they found doesn't scream, beautiful miracle of life. It screams props department had one job and they failed spectacularly. Now, if she used a surrogate and didn't want to admit it, I could understand that. Privacy is privacy, right? But if there's actual deception involved, complete with fake belly props and rotating child actors, then we've crossed the line from protecting my family into running a full-scale con operation. And the thing is, this isn't just about personal choices anymore. This becomes about public trust and authenticity when you're still using royal titles and cashing in on that Duchess brand every chance you get. Speaking of those titles, let's talk about the birth certificate drama. Apparently, Meghan had her royal title removed from the documents and then put back in. Now, I don't know about you, but when I fill out official paperwork, I usually get it right the first time. It's not like ordering coffee where you can change your mind and say, actually, make that a venti instead of a grande. These are legal documents. And somehow, in the US where royal titles aren't supposed to be used as legal names, these documents slipped through with titles attached. Even immigration officials were reportedly confused and had to reach out to King Charles for clarity. When government officials are calling the King of England asking, "What the heck is going on here?" you know something sketchy is happening. And let's not forget about Harry in all this. He's not some innocent bystander who got caught up in the chaos. He's playing along like he's the leading man in this whole production. The same guy who used to hate the press is now calling them when it suits him and launching lawsuits when it doesn't. That's some premium hypocrisy right there. He went from, "I hate the media," to, "Wait, let me call them for this photo op," faster than I change channels when a commercial comes on. The Queen, God rest her soul, had apparently made it clear before she passed. No HRH titles for those stepping away from royal duties. But here comes Harry, pushing for those titles anyway like he's negotiating a business deal. And according to sources, Charles caved faster than a house of cards in a windstorm. The man who was supposed to clean up the monarchy's image handed over those titles like he was giving out candy on Halloween. But here's what really gets me thinking. Why would Meghan go through all this trouble in the first place? Some people say it's for brand value, others say it's to secure her spot in history. But the theory that makes the most sense, she believed having royal children would lock her into the monarchy forever. Not in name, but in influence and power. 2 kids with HRH titles. That's not just family planning, that's strategic positioning. That's long-term PR leverage that would make any marketing executive weep with joy. Whether she actually gave birth becomes almost irrelevant if the public believes the narrative. And that's the scary part. We're potentially looking at one of the most elaborate long-term cons in recent history. It's like she took the concept of fake it till you make it and applied it to motherhood and royal legitimacy. The audacity is almost impressive if it wasn't so potentially deceptive. You know what's really telling? Watch Meghan's body language around these kids. In one video, she holds a child like she's never held a toddler in her life. No natural maternal instincts, no soothing gestures, just awkward positioning like she's posing with a borrowed prop. And the kids always look like they're being managed by assistants rather than being with their parents. There's always this sense of, okay, cameras are rolling, everyone look happy. People aren't stupid, they notice these inconsistencies. They see the weird body language, the lack of genuine emotion, the way everything feels so orchestrated. And the question that keeps getting louder is this. If these kids aren't biologically hers, and if the palace knows it, then why is everyone pretending everything is normal? Is it fear? Shame? Or something even deeper that we haven't figured out yet? Meghan's defenders always jump in with the same tired argument. She's just private. But folks, there's a difference between privacy and deception. When it starts looking like you faked an entire pregnancy, hired stand-in children, and manipulated your way into royal recognition, it stops being about personal boundaries. It becomes about public trust, especially when you're still using those royal titles, still appearing on the official monarchy website, and still cashing in on that Duchess brand every chance you get. And can we talk about the timing of everything? That video of Meghan twerking went viral right around the same time fresh questions started popping up about the kids. Coincidence? I think not. It's like a masterclass in distraction tactics. Make noise, stir up controversy, and shift attention away from what people are really asking. It's the celebrity equivalent of look over here while I hide the evidence over there. But here's what Meghan seems to be missing. This kind of attention doesn't build a legacy, it burns one. The Kardashian comparisons, she clearly loves don't work here because Kim and Paris weren't claiming royal legitimacy. They weren't putting children at the center of a public relations power play. They were just being famous for being famous, which is honest in its own ridiculous way. This is different. This is potentially using children as props in a royal legitimacy scheme. The royal family, meanwhile, stays silent through all of this. No statements, no pushback, just this quiet, uncomfortable tolerance. But silence isn't neutrality when your institution's reputation is being dragged through the mud by 2 people who walked away from the job but kept all the perks. They're still signing their names as Duke and Duchess of Sussex, still demanding royal treatment on international tours, and the palace still hosts their biographies on the official royal website. There's no accountability, no lines being drawn, and that silence is starting to look a lot like complicity. Every time Meghan posts a carefully staged photo with one of those kids, every time Harry makes some speech about protecting his family, it feels like another slap in the face to anyone who values authenticity. Because at this point, it's not about them anymore. It's about the institution they represent and the trust they may have hijacked for their own purposes. The public might never get concrete proof of what really happened. No clinic will come forward. No employee will leak records. The legal and privacy protections are too strong. But here's the thing about truth. It has a strange way of surfacing eventually. And the more Meghan and Harry try to act normal while everything around them screams abnormal, the more those cracks start to show. People are connecting dots, comparing dates, watching body language, analyzing photos. They're noticing when the same child looks oddly different within days of each other. They're questioning why there are no candid pregnancy shots, no hospital confirmations, no real birth announcements. At some point, even the most loyal fans will stop defending what they can see with their own eyes. And when that illusion finally breaks, When the press stops shielding them and the palace can't look away anymore, what happens next could be far more explosive than anything we've seen yet. Because if this really is what it looks like, we're not just talking about a couple bending the truth. We could be looking at one of the biggest image manipulation schemes in royal history, and everyone from the top down might have helped make it possible. The questions aren't going away, no matter how many distractions they throw at us. Where do these children really come from? Why does everything about their family dynamic feel so artificial? And most importantly, how long can this whole charade continue before the weight of its own contradictions brings it crashing down? Because at the end of the day, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. And right now, more and more people are starting to ask the questions that really matter. The truth always finds a way to surface, and when it does, the fallout might be bigger than anyone imagined. So there you have it, folks. A story more twisted than a pretzel factory explosion, with more questions than answers and enough drama to keep Netflix in content for the next decade. Whether you believe it or not, one thing's for sure, this royal soap opera is far from over, and the next episode promises to be even more explosive than what we've seen so far.